You know, we have something very interesting here today, and I know that you're going to enjoy meeting these fine folks. We have some fine folks here who have had quite an honor bestowed upon them, and I want you to meet them right now. They're from Oshkosh, Wisconsin, and it's Mr. and Mrs. Arthur L. Contest down there in Cass County, Indiana. Well, I never expect to win it or anything, but golly, it's such a surprise that it took me a week or two before I could believe it. And now here you folks are, named the Outstanding Industrial Worker by the Oshkosh, Wisconsin Chamber of Commerce. Mr. Fisher, how do you feel about all this, huh?
Well, to me it seems like a sort of a fairyland existence. Instead of being Alice in Wonderland, it's Emma and Arthur in Wonderland. That's the way I feel about it.
Oh, isn't that cute? That's wonderful. Well, I think you folks out there on the air should know that our guests here are Mr. and Mrs. Arthur L. Fisher, and with them is the Executive Secretary of the Oshkosh Chamber of Commerce, Jack Delvaux, and his wife. Mr. Fisher, you don't happen to make overalls, do you now?
No, I don't.
You don't make overalls?
I don't make anything in the shop where I work.
Well, what company do you work for?
I work for the Universal Motor Company that make the best marine engines in the world.
Atta
how
boy.
about that?
Listen to that. Well, that's fine. The Universal Motor Company. Well, I guess this is just the way we feel about it down here. We always feel like anybody from Oshkosh, well, they make overalls, you know.
Well, that's because you listen to WLS, and they've been advertising those overalls for 20 years now, Stub.
My gollies, and I've been wearing them that long, too. Well, my gosh. Well, that's right. I'm not quite 20.
No.
Now, Mr. Fisher, don't laugh about that. I'm really not too old. Oh, golly. Well, I'll tell you. We wanted to talk to you, Fisher, and you Fishers. And, Mr. Fisher, I understand that this was your very first train trip. Is that right?
No, that was a mistake. It was the first plane trip, but not the first train trip.
Oh, you come down by plane?
Yes.
Oh, say, how did you like that now?
We enjoyed it immensely. I thought I'd be a little bit nervous at first, but not after I was down there 5 minutes.
Is that right?
No,
All the
do
way.
Right at first, though, you didn't let all your weight down, did you?
You said it.
Yes, sirree. Well, of all things that you've seen and done while you're in Chicago on this prize-winning vacation that you and the missus are having, what has been the most interesting to you?
Well, I think
That's
pretty hard to choose. I like that museum of, what was that, natural science or something?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Science and industry.
Science and industry.
And naturally, seeing that my hobby is growing flowers, I like the conservatory at Lincoln Park, all those beautiful flowers.
Oh, I'll bet that was
And
nice, huh?
probably, as far as entertainment is concerned, the high spot was when we were at Edgewater Beach Hotel, and Hildegard introduced me to the public there, and of course, I got quite a kick out of that.
Say, now, I
Yeah.
just imagine. I'd get a kick out of that myself. Well, that's fine.
Hey, Stubby.
Yeah,
Why
Lulu?
don't you move over just a little and let me talk to Mrs. Fisher? Shucks, us women have got a few things to talk over, too, you know.
Well, I reckon that's right. So, here, Mr. Fisher, you and me, let's just step a little to the south here and let Lulu Belle talk to your wife, huh?
Mrs. Fisher, golly, this sounds like one of the grandest things that could happen to a person, and you look like just the kind of a person that good things ought to happen to. Tell me, could you kind of just mention a few of the things you've been doing since you left your home in Oshkosh?
Since I left home, well, our first thing was when we got at the airport, we had a police escort through the airport.
With the siren and everything?
Yeah.
Oh,
And when we got there, we had about 200 to 300 friends out there waiting for us, wishing us well.
Oh, you did.
And then I was presented with a beautiful croissant. Beautiful.
Exciting things happen to you, I
We
guess.
have.
Which one of them would you like to do again?
Well, I don't know. I'd like to do them all again if I could stand it.
Oh, well, I'll bet you could. Well, Mrs. Fisher, did you have to go off and leave any kids at home?
One boy, but my daughter lives just around the corner. And he isn't a boy, he's He's 24 years old, so.
He's your baby, though,
yes,
I'll bet.
He's a baby.
Well, have you got any grandchildren, or are you kids married?
13 grandchildren.
13.
And 4 of my children are married. And this one boy is at home.
How many do you have
5.
altogether? 5 altogether. Well, that's just wonderful, guys. Well, Stub, I think we ought to find out something about Mr. Fisher, what he does up there at the Universal Motor Company and in the community of Oshkosh, huh?
Well, I think so, too. The requirements for winning this honor, the Chamber of Commerce folks tell us that the man must be an American citizen, a qualified voter, and have done something for the community in which is of general benefit. And Mr. Fisher, tell us first about your work, would you? What you do up there at the Universal Motor Company?
One thing about this is that I think that, of course, I still don't think that I deserve the honor, but I agree that it was the most democratic way of doing anything that I ever heard of, because I don't happen to be a high producer or a mechanic. I'm simply a janitor. And I take care of the shop, keep it clean. I'm a landscaper. I take care of the outside gardening work, and in the winter I add the firing is added. Of course, it's a stoker. It was very hard.
I see.
And well, that's my main work at the shop.
Well, you said simply a janitor. Now, look here. That is a very, very important job. We all know that. And in a big organization like that, every man there has a job to do, and I can imagine that it's very, very interesting to you.
It is to me.
Well, sure enough. And I understand that landscaping job is a credit to any plant.
Well,
you know.
We have the reputation of having the best landscape grounds in the city of Oshkosh.
Oh, boy. You know, it's wonderful to drive by these plants and see how the landscaping is so beautiful. And, oh, gollies, I think anybody that worked there would really appreciate that, coming to work at a place like that. Well, now, how about this, the Boy Scouts? Aren't you on a committee or something?
Yes, I'm the chairman of the Troop 9 of the Bethlehem Evangelical Lutheran Church Troop. I've been the chairman of the committee for 8 years and the chairman of the Board of Review also.
Is that right? For 8 years, chairman. Well, you've had a lot of extra work to do there, I'm sure. And that is the official job with your church? You have an official job there, too?
No, this is...
all together, is it?
That's all together.
Well, I can certainly see why you folks were selected as outstanding industrial worker in this very unusual contest. And gollies, I can't think of anything more wonderful than that, and it might give a few other plants ideas, too. And, well, as busy as you are, Mr. Fisher, do you have time to develop any hobbies or anything like that?
I have probably, next to Boy Scouting, I have 2 main hobbies.
2 main hobbies? Oh, my.
One is growing flowers, and I have done that for years, about 35 years. And the other one is writing verse. I happen to be a member of the Wisconsin Fellowship of Poets, and I've had a number of my poems read over the air on WHA and the Portage Station. I've had a few published in New Verse magazine, and also in the Centennial book that they've put together there. I have some of my poems in there.
Well, how about that? You're real handy with the verses, huh?
My wife says that she's a gardening widow in the summertime and a poetry widow in the winter.
You ever write any nice poems for her, do you?
Yes, I think I have.
Well,
Some that aren't quite so nice.